How are you, child of God? This is the Remnant Seed Bible Study channel. Welcome. Got one called The Fifth Kingdom of Daniel, Chapter 2. Modern commentators and Bible teachers only teach up to the fourth kingdom, which is, everybody can agree it's Rome. But nobody ever really goes into the toes and the feet, which would be the fifth kingdom. And nowhere in God's word does it say that the image stopped at the fourth kingdom. But that's what we hear in modern Christianity, that Rome is basically the last kingdom in the image that that Nebuchadnezzar had the dream of. And you got the gold, you got the brass, the silver, the iron, miry clay, and the 10 toes, the whole thing. I'm going to just focus on the fifth kingdom, which is the toes and the feet. So without further ado, let's jump into this. It's going to be quite complicated, beloved. It takes a lot of time, a lot of work to figure this out. Okay, and I'm going to show you that the book of Daniel is basically just a companion with Revelation, and it's a type. We're talking about a type of antichrist, a type of the king of Babylon of the end times. And I've heard so many, I call them knuckleheads lately, preaching how the antichrist is going to come out of Rome. And they believe that Rome is the last kingdom mentioned in this image. But I'm going to show you different. Okay, we'll start in Daniel 7:1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and the visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel 7 takes us up to where Chapter 2, 44 and 45 ends. The image that Nebuchadnezzar had seen in a dream is further explained to us. The king of Babylon is a type of Antichrist, and the book of Daniel is a companion to the book of Revelation. If you'll notice, there's no mention of any country or government, but the control of Jerusalem is the real focus of this image, and basically the whole book of Daniel. That Jerusalem is the center of the world, and who controls it is one of the subjects of Daniel. And those who believe the Antichrist will rise up out of the Roman Empire are sadly mistaken. And to top that nonsense off, the Antichrist is not a man. He does not have any earthly genealogy. In chapter 7, transpired 3 years before chapter 5 at around 429 BC. So it makes the chapters in the book of Daniel out of sequence. But once you have a teacher, Bullinger brings this out. So there shouldn't be any problem there for you. What I'm going to focus on is the fifth kingdom of Daniel, which is mentioned in Daniel 2:41 and 2:43. The focus of all the prophecy surrounds Jerusalem and who's in control of it. Everybody can agree the fourth kingdom is Rome, but that's where the modern commentary ends. The prophecy of Daniel and the dream of Nebuchadnezzar didn't end there. It continues. And I will go to Daniel 2:41, and this is what I consider the fifth kingdom. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And miry clay just simply means wet clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And you notice this image of Daniel is way top heavy, as it starts off with gold and then you end up with miry clay on the bottom. And this thing is basically easily knocked over and destroyed by Jesus Christ, the chief cornerstone. and he's the one who destroys it. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Now you could look at this a couple of different ways. The seed of men, you could say that this is the mixing of the seed of men with the fallen angels. But I also believe it could be the fact that Christianity and Islam will never mix together. And that is who is in control of the Dome of the Rock right now. All right, so who is presently in control of that Dome of the Rock, which is really the focus of Daniel's prophecy, is who's in control. You could say part of Israel is under control of Judah and the other 11 tribes, but the fact remains that the Dome of the Rock is controlled by the Mohammedans, and it's 636 A.D. according to Bullinger. The Mohammedans took control of it, and it's been trodden underfoot since then. And Rome controlled it, get this, for 666 years, beginning in 31 BC, in the Battle of Actium, when Rome took Jerusalem. The fifth power after Rome is described as the feet and the toes. And let's go to Luke 21:24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And I believe only at Christ's return will that land be taken by Christ. It will be trodden down by the Gentiles until then. Okay, now let's go to Daniel 2:44. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that break it in pieces, the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made it known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. At a time in the end of days, all the earthly kingdoms will be destroyed that are mentioned in Nebuchadnezzar's dream. And this chief cornerstone is none other than Jesus Christ. And it was made without hands. And this shows you that this is Jesus Christ. And I'll go into the death of the king of Babylon below, and this is in Daniel's time, and it's chapter 5, verse 30. And in that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain, and Darius the Median took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. Now this is 3 years before chapter 7. And this is the death of the king of Babylon. The stone that destroyed the image is Jesus Christ at his second coming. And we got the stone mentioned here in Psalms 118, 22, Matthew 21, 42, Mark 12, 10. And the cornerstone is Jesus Christ, and he's hewn without hands. He destroyed the image and the king of Babylon in Daniel's time, and he'll destroy the king of Babylon of the end times, which was a type or example of the antichrist that's brought forward in the entire book of Daniel and Revelation. They're companion books. And then we have this brought forward in 2 Thessalonians 2:8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, the Antichrist, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. This is Christ destroying that image of the false Messiah, the Antichrist. Even him, who is Christ, whose coming is after the working of Satan. It means Satan comes first, disguised as the angel of light, as the antichrist, the false Messiah, all laid forth here for you by Daniel, by Revelation, by Paul in 2 Thessalonians. And it's after the working of Satan with all power, signs, and lying wonders. And the devil, this antichrist, is going to be good. And if this time weren't shortened, even the elect would be deceived by this joker. Jesus Christ, our cornerstone, will destroy the antichrist with the brightness of his coming. In that order. And that means that the antichrist comes first and Jesus Christ comes second. Antichrist at the 6th seal, trump, and vial, and Jesus Christ at the 7th seal, trump, and vial. In that order, and that is the wisdom spoken of in Revelation, where this is brought forward. Here is wisdom. Count the number of his name. Whose name? The name of Antichrist. And also count the number of Jesus Christ. 7 symbolizes Jesus Christ. And the word 6 and the letter and the number 6 is the symbol of man and also the false Messiah, the Antichrist. He's called a man, but he's not a man. Gabriel's called a man, but he's not a man. That's just one of his titles. Daniel 7. Now here we go. I've already read this verse, and we'll just move on. This is the last king of Babylon from Daniel's time at 429 BC. This is a continuation from the dream of Nebuchadnezzar in chapter 244. In other words, Daniel 7 is a continuation of the image that Nebuchadnezzar had in his dream. This is just going to further explain it. Verse 2, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold the 4 winds, which is symbolic of the end, speaking about the end times, strove upon the great sea, which is the people. Okay, and both a reference to the end times and the multitudes of people. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse from one another. Now you must not confuse the 4 beasts that came up from the sea and the 4 kingdoms or the 5 kingdoms of the dream of Nebuchadnezzar. You cannot confuse these two. And I believe these are religion, finance, education, and politics. These are the hidden powers or kings or dynasties, whatever you want to call them. And these are symbolic. It's symbolic and literal. Once you control these 4 hidden powers, you can control the earth. Okay, let's go to verse 4. And the first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings, and I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth. And it made stand from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And this is Enosh, man, as in the Hebrew. Revelation 13:4, the same beasts are mentioned in Daniel. Okay, this is where we're going, right? Okay. Go to verse 5. And behold, another beast, a second like a bear. See how these work out? These are the same in Revelation and Daniel. And it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, and between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. Okay, and this is the deadly wound to the beast system. That's what this is mentioning. And these hidden powers are part of that beast system. The beast is in control of them, and Satan gives the power to this beast. And after this, verse 6, and after this I beheld and another like a leopard. And their spot, they cannot change their spot. Their spot is not our spot. Which had upon it the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. And the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. And again, these are the 4 hidden powers that are mentioned in Zechariah 1:18. Verse 7, after this I saw in a night vision, and behold a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and had great iron teeth, and it devoured and brake in pieces and stamped in residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were in it before it. And it had 10 horns. Now these are the supernatural kings that Satan brings with him at his appearance when they are cast out of heaven in Revelation 12:9. These are the fallen angels that are cast out with Satan from heaven. And this is when Satan will stand in the holy place and claim to be God. He's cast out of heaven, as mentioned in 2 Thessalonians 2:4 is mentioned by Paul. That's how he stands in a holy place. This is a physical casting out. This is a physical, literal de jure Satan. It's not a proxy Satan, not Satan's evil spirit. This is Satan in person. Okay, let's go to Revelation 17:11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. Verse 12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. And this is the hour of temptation, when all the saints are delivered up before the magistrates of this antichrist, in the hour of temptation. And this is going to be a time like no other. And this is during the Great Tribulation. The fallen angel Satan brings with him when he stands in the holy place and claims to be God. These are the supernatural, the 10 supernatural kings. Verse 13 in Revelation 17, these have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast which is Satan, the Antichrist, and the beast system. And if you noticed, the evil in the world today, these people all seem like they have one mind. And we're seeing this system set up already. These people do not break ranks. They're part of the locust army. They will fall on the sword for the cause, beloved. They all have one mind, and they stick together like glue. Verse 14, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is the Lord of lords, the King of kings, and they that are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. Oh, I love that verse. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest are the whore, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. This is the great whore that sits upon the waters, the mother of all harlots, the mixture of religion and the kingdoms of this world, all combined in one neat little package. And they are basically in power of the world right now, beloved. And this kingdom is being set up for this Antichrist. Verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Let's go to Daniel 8, back to Daniel, chapter 7, verse 8. And I considered these horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. And guess who the little horn is? That's one of Satan's names. And I believe this is another name for Satan, but it's also this role as the Antichrist, the false Messiah, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and mouth speaking great things. And this is his role as the false Messiah. And he is going to be a great orator, and his voice will be hypnotic, and many people will fall under his spell. And this religious beast from the 4 horns of power, it's one of them. That's the religion. This is the Antichrist, the devil. He's the one who is diverse from all the other kingdoms. I beheld till the thrones were cast down. The Ancient of Days, which is God, did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels as a burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. And this is the Holy Spirit. Thousands and thousands of thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment sat, and the books were open. And I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given into the burning flame. And the offices of the beast and the false prophet will then be cast into the lake of fire right at the beginning of the millennium, which is God the consuming fire. And those offices will not be allowed to operate during the millennial reign of Christ. They will be cast into the lake of fire, which simply means God will destroy them and they will never come back. That's the absolute end. But that's not Satan being destroyed yet. He won't be destroyed until after the great white throne judgment. Revelation 19:20, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet, the antichrist, that wrought miracles before him, in which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them which worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone, which is God the consuming fire. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. Daniel 7:12, back to Daniel 7, verse 12, is concerning the rest of the beasts. They had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. Okay, and I'm just simply saying that the false prophet and the beast system, all of these will be cast away and never be used again. And this is right at the beginning of the millennial reign of Christ. Verse 13, and I saw a night vision, and beheld, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before me. Verse 14, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, languages should serve him. His dominion is everlasting dominion, which shall not be passed away, and his kingdom which shall not be destroyed. It will last forever and ever. And I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. And I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all of this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation thereof. So Daniel's asking for an interpretation of this dream, and the angel of the Lord, none other than God himself, interprets this for him. The great beasts which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. Now these are the earthly kings, okay? But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. And then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, his nails of brass, which devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And this is Antichrist taking control of all of the other four beasts, the four kings. And the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even that horn, that little horn, that had eyes and a mouth speaking great, very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. And you're going to find that Mark 13, Luke 26, and Luke 21, and Matthew 24. And the saints stand against this one, the Antichrist, in the hour of temptation, who is the little horn in control of these 10 horns. And I beheld, in verse 21, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them until the Ancient of Days came. And judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. And this is the great white throne judgment, when all things will be made new. Verse 23, and thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. still yet in the future when the Antichrist will deceive the world. And verse 23 is not speaking about the fourth kingdom of Daniel 2. To repeat that, beloved. Verse 24, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and as he shall subdue the 3 kings. The supernatural fallen angels that Satan brings with him at his appearance. These 10 horns up here are the 10 supernatural ones that Satan brings with him. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and a times and the dividing of time. And this is 3.5 years, and I believe this has been shortened to 5 months in Revelation 9 and 10. Revelation chapter 9, verse 5 and 9:10. And verse 26, but the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and destroy it unto the end. And this is when Christ destroys it. So when that cornerstone destroys that image, that image of Nebuchadnezzar, this is it. All these kingdoms will be destroyed, and this is when Christ will take dominion. And the king and the dominion and the greatest of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints, the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. And as for me, Daniel, my cogitations much trouble me, and my countenance changed in me. But I kept the matter in my heart. And I believe that Daniel just kept this to himself until the time of the end. And now it's been revealed to us what this dream is. And we're approaching that time right now. We are already in it. As you could see, this whole beast system is set up right now for the entrance of this king of Babylon, the type of antichrist in the book of Daniel. And we are right there. And the fifth kingdom is the king, who is basically in control of the Dome of the Rock, Jerusalem, right now. And that's the Mohammedans. It's not Rome, beloved. Rome does not control Jerusalem at all. Rome is irrelevant in the last days. Okay? All right. That's the end of this lecture, and I will see you on the next one, and much love from me to you.